Okay, so I'm Alex Cooper. I'm a producer and actor in Sandow movie. Could I ask your name again?
My name's Dave Lazinski.
Dave Lazinski. Well, that sounds Polish.
He's a Polish. I've got a Polish grandfather. So.
Polish is good. Polish is good. So, can I ask you a question I haven't asked you already? What, in your opinion, builds the perfect man? What is the perfect man?
Depends. It's a mixture of two things. Over the years, there's been a big argument between what we call beef, which is the size of someone, i.e. your strong man, which is a massive, huge amounts of size.
Like a Louis Cyr sort of thing.
Such, yeah. And in comparison, we're now coming through to quite a new era, which is aesthetics.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more towards what people like using Sandow originally started off. Was more
but
of an aesthetic thing.
Isn't that what people like Frank Zane were doing? And
Frank Zane again, aesthetic. You name me a bodybuilder. Arnold Schwarzenegger was more beef, but was very aesthetic as well with it.
Yeah.
Max was beef. Virgil Fox from England was beef.
Yeah.
And then we look at our aesthetic people like Chris Dickerson.
Yeah.
People like Frank Zane.
Yeah.
And then we look at people like Frank Zane again.
So basically, what you say is there's a kind of fulfillment of what's perfect to each individual, right?
What is perfect is in the mind of the individual. Where when you go to get judged, you may have 3 physiques.
Yeah.
You may have 20,000 people out there, and 20,000 will think that physique is the right physique. But if the judge, through his own personal thought, thinks that's the physique he likes, it depends on the judges. That's why it's very hard in a bodybuilding competition. You're not being judged so much on what's a statistic of what something should be. What you're doing is you're being judged as a whole package.
Yes.
And to do that, it all depends on the individual. What I would think was a good physique and what you would think was a good physique might be 2 completely different things, and probably is 2 completely different kind of ideas. And that's the beauty about bodybuilding. We all have a different idea of what we want to look like and what in our expectations what other people look like as well.
Is there something though that goes beyond bodybuilding in the story of Sandow? Isn't there something that goes to the heart of humanity, what it means to be a person?
Too right. To certain people in athletics, certain names mean something. But to bodybuilders, Sandow is the heart. Way even before Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Sandow was the man that paved the way for what brought physiques out, to show physiques out in public and what a physique was, and the strong side of it, to actually pick something physically up in front of people, to impress people with size, to impress people with muscle, to impress people with physique.
And the opposite sex, of course.
Very much so.
Yeah. I did have a question in that I thought that the whole story of Sandow really goes to what it means to be a person who wants to build something magnificent, to kind of being part of something that's bigger than yourself, and achieve your dreams.
Well, your dream it's like it's a really kind of I understand that in a big way, because it's like we call it in bodybuilding or as in weight training, we call it the third eye. And the third eye is what you want to look like. Your dreams, what you're talking about, where you see yourself, the size you see yourself, and then it's about obtaining it. And in our sport, that's very much what we do. We look at what we want to look like, the size, the dimensions, and then we start to work towards that.
Okay.
We're working towards a dream that we see in our head as that person, towards what we're calling perfection ourselves.
Arnold used to say it's like chiseling away, knocking and building bits off like a statue.
Off season, putting loads of weight on, so you've got all the clay there to sculpt everything out of what you need, because you need the bulk of that there to then cut that all away, and then to show everything underneath, which is chiseled and cut.
Did you see the recent interview with Schwarzenegger where he's actually been quite critical of how bodybuilding's going at the moment?
Everybody is. I haven't probably not seen that one, but I have heard him being critical in the past about it.
The way I see it, well, I can kind of get where he's coming from, but in Schwarzenegger's time, some would say that he was actually a freakish level of size that hadn't been seen already, and that these guys are just taking that to the next step. Other people are saying that actually there should be a shift of emphasis in bodybuilding towards fitness and get it into the Olympic Games.
Yes, it's already happened. This year, Olympia put a sister kind of competition next to it as such, which was all your beach bodies, all your physiques, back to what you were using Sandow was originally kind of that.
What he was doing
about that aestheticness of it.
Yeah.
More people are interested in that than what they are now, because basically what's happened is it's evolved. Bodybuilding evolved so much that if it becomes to look at something now, it's unobtainable. people like Kai Green, which we have pictures of up here.
Yeah.
Which will absolutely dwarf Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's
Yeah.
now in the new obtainable. Now, for an everyday person to look at this,
Well, you need
obtainable.
drugs, right?
Well, just about any other way to get there.
Hard training, very hard training.
But no, the main thing is hard training. Taking nothing away from these guys that are at the top doing their game. The hard training, they're still hard training as anything.
Yeah,
They're looking to promote muscle mass.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with these guys, they will use any deep
they'll be gifted, but they'll be using what they can.
They
Yeah,
tend
yeah.
to find it really dirty, but I tend to turn on my TV now and look at the Tour de France, where a lot of people got caught taking EPO and things like that.
Everyone at the high levels are doping.
At the top level, it's been proven time and time again, time and time before. We are a little bit naive to it in the fact that we think that they're taking these tablets and these injections to become superhumans, when really a lot of it is so they can still compete. Things like people like Lincoln Christie, people like Greg Rudetsky, nostalgia alone. People tend to think, oh well, it made them superhuman kind of steroid. It didn't. It was for their joints. If it wouldn't have been for their joints and Lincoln Christie's knee joint, without it, it's a joint builder, a joint oiler, and basically allows you to push through and to compete. If they wouldn't have taken it, they wouldn't have competed. I don't think they did it to try and get an extra boost, an extra gain, because I don't think it is that big an extra boost, an extra gain. I think they did it still to compete. And that kind of thing. So it's quite a sad side of it. I'm not condoning it in any way at all.
Well,
but I kind of tend to look
personal
at
choice.
People's reasoning.
Well, yeah.
Perhaps not to win the game. How about if it was just to stay in the game? And I know it's wrong and I know it's bad, but this is what entices those people.
Yeah.
A lifetime of getting to that pinnacle, getting to that place,
Yeah.
and not being able to carry on through an injury.
Yeah. Yeah.
They haven't taken this because they've decided to take it off the top of their heads. They've taken it because I think to progress on in their sport, to carry on in what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, so again, not condone it, but I can have a little bit more of an understanding behind what it is. It's
Yeah.
not a superhuman thing that makes people run 20,000 miles faster than
Yeah.
anybody else.
Yeah.
You're not going to move like the Flash. You're not going to become the size of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
So
It's interesting because the way that the Olympic Games was in Sandow's time, everyone had to do every event. So a guy like Launceston Elliott, who was the British athlete that was trained by Sandow, he actually came last in the rope climb. Heavy guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Strong guy, naturally strong, could lift heavy weights overhead. So he won the overhead press contest. But there are obviously things that they couldn't do. But that to me just sounds like CrossFit, really. I mean, but CrossFit is paying a lot of money for not a lot, really.
Well,
I
CrossFit
think.
to me, I'm not really. Oh wow, you've got me on words of personal hate there.
Well, no, but what I mean is, like, the original games, they weren't doing just weightlifting or bodybuilding. They were doing sprints. They were doing everything.
The strongman. These guys can't just be big now. They've got to run with those stones, and they've got to run with these things.
Yeah.
I think what it is it's what we proved is different horses for different courses. Say for instance, shot putter is going to be a very heavy person. You can't expect them to go 100 metres. So it started to become individualised into different things.
Yeah.
If you were heavy, you were good at that. If you were light, you were very good at the pole vault or light and tall.
Yeah.
You know, so the best pole vaulters in the world, light and tall. The best high jumpers, light and tall. A marathon runner, very, very skinny, very, very light, needs to go for miles.
I tell you what,
look at 100 metre runner.
Yeah.
Bang, these explosive
I did a marathon once, and it's a good challenge.
So
but
different horses for different courses. We tend to concentrate on just the one now, as opposed to when I was growing up. One of my favourite people was Daley Thompson. Daley Thompson was your perfect CrossFit. He could run, he could jump, he could jump, he could.
Fit guy,
but good over the whole board.
Yeah.
We look at his physique, very in between what a really long distance one would be, and what a power.
He was never going to be huge. But then you looked at people like Christie, and they had amazing bodybuilder physiques, in my opinion.
But again, because of 100 metre explosive strength.
Yeah.
You never caught Lincoln Christie going out for a 10-mile run.
No.
No, because it wasn't how his body was geared and trained, and that's what all of these machines are in here for, gearing it around towards what you're doing.
Yeah.
That is a 10-second sprint.
Yeah.
10-second sprint.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what he's gearing himself up for.
It's interesting though. Can you imagine though how they would have been doing it in 1896? It'd be vastly different to now.
Oh, very much so.
And that's basically what I'll be trying to recreate with Sandow.
Wow.
So and with the period setting and everything, I think it's a unique project. What do you think about that?
Very unique project, and it's something I don't think has been really talked about, because I think it's the bodybuilding's evolving in the way it is, where it's becoming to giants, where it's becoming monsters and unobtainable.
Yeah.
Even for a bodybuilder that's been training for 22 years, the physiques that are out there now,
I mean,
is unobtainable.
It's still, I mean, hats off. They still have to work bloody hard to get what they do, but
hats off isn't the word for it. They work harder than anyone else to look at they do.
Yeah.
Taking away the work rate.
No.
What I'm saying is, for the everyday person to look at that and think, I can be like that.
The man on the street without,
It's too much. Well, if you ask someone to look at Susan Sandow, they could look at this gym equipment and it would be obtainable.
But don't you think part of that is also genetics?
Genetics does play a part in it, but there's
because some people
talent and hard work will always beat just good people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's talent. It's a mixture. There is a certain amount of talent.
Working hard.
I'm very kind of like one of those people. Again, I'm naturally quite gifted myself.
Yeah, genetically, yeah.
What I mean by that is, it's very hard to have all your body parts match up, and this is where it becomes hard in this sport. Let's not just look at a big guy. Let's have a look at a guy that's being marked as a clear 10 on every single body part.
Sure.
So from his shoulders to his forearms to his calves to his quads to his traps. To his traps, to his hands, every part of his body is going to be judged on that individual muscle.
Yeah.
So he's not just got to bring one muscle up.
Everything has to be up to the mark.
This becomes a very, very hard sport in the sense of everyone doing it.
In a sense of a chap like Elliot, who never achieved the sort of notoriety, although he was on the strongman circuit, you see the photos of Elliot, very strong guy, but obviously he was more of a strongman physique, because he didn't. If you look at the pictures of him, he's sort of smoothed out in every picture.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that kind of 8-pack chiseled look that Sandow always has in his shots. Now, I mean, part of that will be the presentation, etc. But obviously there must have been something about Sandow's natural way of being, right? That meant that he had that 8-pack. Or was he taking something,
No, I don't think he was.
Because steroids didn't exist.
I think but the difference is, you say about genetics, we can't just put everybody into the same category of you're an A genetic, you're a B genetic, you're a C genetic, that's what you are and that's it.
Yeah.
Because even two the same would grow at a different size.
One thing I've also noticed about strength and also athleticism generally, having done that marathon and been beaten by 70 and 80 year olds, I mean, I did it in 4 hours 30, and I was quite pleased with that, because there was an athlete at my school who did silver medal in the Olympics. He did it in a similar time to me, so I was quite happy with that. But I was never going to be a Mo Farah. I was too heavy, And when you say about the body parts, I look at people and I think, well, you've got amazing this, that, and the other, and people sometimes looked at me and said, well, you've got nice legs. My wife said, oh, you always had a good set of legs on you, and that's probably my strongest body part, my lower body, and I probably don't show it on my upper body because I work hard, but for whatever reason, genetics, etc. I was blessed with good legs, and
the good thing about the legs is it's the most important part, because your biggest muscle group in your body is your legs, and it feeds the blood around the body as well. So by training your legs, it should mean that your upper half has always stayed in quite half decent.
It's all right. It's all right.
That's the reason why, because of your legs, right? A lot of people, a lot of bodybuilders, they'll not train their legs, or weight trainers won't train their legs.
So this is what they always say, right? I mean, sorry, I just switched over to this gentleman here. Maybe you can have a little, because I really like this strongman tash you've got there, sir. And apparently it curls up, and that's great. But what's your perspective on this whole project? Working out, Sandow, what it means. What's the perfect man? What should be his goals?
Perfect. What?
Perfect man, the perfect man that Sandow anything?
Well,
Like,
so I have to be perfectly honest with you. I've only been in the gym now for about 6 months, and that was after I had a serious cancer operation. And
Right.
I had to operate through my stomach wall, so I'm not a gym person at all.
no.
And I was looking for someone that appeared to be inspirational to me.
Yeah.
We became friends, and now he's my personal trainer.
Personal trainer, yeah.
He's changing the shape of my body.
Okay.
And,
So you're bodybuilding as well?
no, not bodybuilding.
Just training.
Just training and getting my body in a better shape.
Yep.
Becoming more fit after this operation. You know,
Yep.
because,